Welcome to From the Hill. I'm your host, State Representative Jim Arciero, and my guest today is my good friend Tom Zuppa, the managing editor for the Lowell Sun. Tom, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me again this year.
Tom, it is that time again. Can you believe it?
It's like December almost.
It's almost December. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
The holidays are around the corner. Next week is Thanksgiving, and it is our annual joint Sun Santa and Toys for Tots event that's going to be December 1st at 6 p.m. at the Franco-American Club, a tradition we started 6 years ago. And each and every year, Tom and I come in and talk a little bit about what the Sun Santa is, the Toys for Tots program, a little bit about our event, and all the things that take to actually create this wonderful event. So Tom, you got involved with the Sun Santa how many years ago?
Actually, I started the Sun in 1995, and Sun Santa started in 1988. So it had just started to get off the ground. I became involved sort of the newsroom liaison. A lot of people behind the scenes who take in the donations and do a lot of the arrangements. If you see Sun Santa events out in the community, we have our coordinator who's back for second year, Nancy Roberts. There's a lot of people sort of behind the scenes that are involved in it. I became the newsroom person not long after coming to the Sun in '95, and now it's 2016. I'm still very involved in it, and it's been really exciting to see it grow over these many years.
So Tom, when we first got involved, we started working together for the Sun Santa Toys for Tots program. It all sort of, the genesis of it started when I was a staffer back in the early 2000s working for Senator Pangiatakis. And he did a joint Sun Santa and Toys for Tots event in Lowell. And it was a tremendous success. He still does it today. Right. And that inspired me when I was elected here in the Westford and the Littleton, Chelmsford area, that we were lacking some outreach in this area. Certainly, you don't have to be in an urban area to benefit from Sun Santa or Toys for Tots. Poverty doesn't start and stop at any town line. Right. It exists everywhere. And we got together. We came up with a plan, and our first plan was a little, I'd say, it was a little disorganized. I always say this. Jeff Tucker, my aide, him and I were looking a lot of the stamps and putting them all together and sending out our invitations. And the first event we had was at the Westford Grill, which doesn't exist anymore. Right. But it was there for a number of years, and they had a function room upstairs. Now it's Soul Kitchen, and we had this event up there, and it was overpacked, if you remember. Right. WCAP, which is going to be here this year as well, 980 in Lowell. They were there, crammed in there. We had over 300 people. We raised something like $7,000 to $8,000. Right. But we understood that we needed to come up with a better plan. Right.
And I think that's the first year you're figuring it all out, and it's been fun on my end to watch this thing grow over the years. You're now in your third site at the Franco-American Club, and it's getting elbow to elbow in there now because it's become so successful.
It certainly is. And then, I guess about 4 years ago, enter Nancy Cook, right? One of my really close friends, someone who you turn to in this community, in the community of Westford and Greater Lowell, to get things done. And Nancy, fantastic job of organizing and being my co-chair along with the Sun and the Marines. And since then, we've put together a committee. I know that folks from Westford CAD as well as the Lowell Sun are going to be coming. I think it's this weekend and next week to come and watch our basket making.
Which I understand is quite the production.
It really is. One of the biggest parts of, and we might as well just go through the whole thing. Some of the things that we put together for the Sun Santa. Number one, we ask for you to bring at least $25 to the Sun Santa, and if you can't bring $25 to the Sun Santa, to bring an unwrapped gift for the Toys for Tots program. And this has been very successful. Last year we drew over 450 people. There's going to be great food that's going to be there. There's going to be a DJ, and there's also going to be almost hundreds of gift baskets and silent auctions that people can bid on and raise money for a good cause.
Yeah, I've actually been following some of the tracking of what's been going on with Nancy and her team on social media. It just seems like every day there's 2 or 3 more really good items that you might have in silent auction, or might make up baskets. I know they're really great about just getting out into the Westford and Littleton and Chelmsford community and getting those items in. And there's going to be a lot of good items to bid on this year, whether it's the baskets or the silent auction certificates and the like. Now, I actually have some breaking news that I want to break on the show.
I've been anticipating this because I'm waiting to hear what this is.
Because this morning, we're going to be making available a very special item. My boss at the Sun, Jim Campanini, who some of you may be familiar with, Jim writes a very popular column called The Wine Novice. He started several years ago developing an interest in wine, so he has been taking the readers on this journey as to his love and understanding of wine and its varieties, and he's become quite the expert. He is going to be offering as a silent auction item a private wine tasting class for up to 6 people. That'll be one of the items at your event. Now, I've actually been through a couple of these. Jim occasionally does them as a fun night out for staff. He's extremely knowledgeable, so if you like wine and you want to learn a little bit more about it, he's a great host and a great teacher. So I hope that one draws a few dollars.
That's fantastic, and I think it will. Certainly, Jim, he's traveled to California, he's traveled to Europe, he's traveled to all parts of the country that, wineries and the art of winery. I know he's a big fanatic.
He's a big aficionado, and he has his book that he keeps that he records every wine he drinks. So he'll probably show that off. Come the private tasting. He's logged everything over the last couple of years. He really has a refined palate now. So if wine is your thing, it would be a real eye-opening night for the winning bidder.
Now, it's interesting. We started, we're kind of going back to when we started at the Westford Grill 6 years ago, and how it was a smaller venue, and it just keeps growing. We then went to the Neshoba Valley Ski Area, the Outlook, and we outgrew that place too. And now we've been at the Franco-American for the last, now going on our last 4 years in a row. And it's to capacity as well. So you were saying, and I've read, that this has become one of the biggest events for the Sun Santa.
It's actually the largest one-night event that Sun Santa has. I believe you raised a tad over $15,000 last year.
A little over 15,000.
Yep. 15,000. The number one event we have is the Lowell General Hospital basket drive that they have every year. They set up baskets in the lobby, both at the main campus and at the Saints campus. And you buy raffle tickets. And it sounds like, well, it's a raffle, it's, gift baskets. Well, these things are kind of gift baskets on steroids.
Right.
There are, again, wine coolers. I believe someone had a mini snowplow one year. There are all sorts of events, trips, weekend getaways, and some of these things are valued in the thousands of dollars. And they're like each department does a basket, so there's a lot of competition as to who's going to have the best basket. And so you can go, and we publish in the paper the times that they sell tickets. The baskets will be out. You can go, buy your tickets, drop them in, and if you want to drop one ticket in a bunch of baskets, that's fine. You want to put all your tickets, on one item that you really, really want. That's really great. Last year, just the raffle raised $70,000, and the hospital foundations traditionally match that. So that's $140,000. That was half of our total Sun Santa take last year, which was $280,000. So you have a way to go to get to.
That's amazing.
140 is a ways off, but I mean, we always talk about how they're the big items. It's the smaller donations. It's the $25 to $50 that people send in that really go a long way. We're working on a story right now on how schools get involved. Some of the classroom teachers get involved at penny drives. The ABC Nursery in Chelmsford Center, where my kids went many years ago, they have really instilled in very young children the idea of you should give and give back, and there's always somebody less fortunate than you. And we had a girl who was probably 3 or 4, and she went to her piggy bank and got 90 cents out and donated that to the Sun Santa. And that's as important to me as the big items are, because it's creating some knowledge beyond yourself, that there's other people out there that might be a little more in need than you. So.
Certainly. I mean, we've established a culture, here in, certainly with this event, that, continues to grow each and every year. It's become a real family event. I encourage folks that want to come on December 1st at 6 p.m. at the Franco. to bring your family. There's going to be, I know Santa Claus is making a visit. He does every year. I certainly know there'll be some other celebrity guests in terms of elected officials and dignitaries. WCAP will be having their presence known. They'll be broadcasting from 6 o'clock to 8 p.m. That's always fun to get on the radio and talk a little bit about the importance of the event and to have different individuals come on and speak a little bit. And the presents, my goodness. Last year, it probably had half of the hall filled with presents. Yes. And we anticipate something similar to that this year as well. The Marines are going to be there having a presence. A lot of the veterans in Westford, this is something they mark their calendar for every year, come and in uniform and show their support as well. So it's something that we look forward to, but it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work.
And I don't think people sometimes appreciate all the behind-the-scenes stuff between the people at Sun Santa and the people, you know, Nancy and Mary McCusker and that team. Just they're a little maniacal about it. And
well, I haven't even mentioned. I haven't even gotten to Mary McCusker needs her own segment. Mary, I think you have cable. I'm not sure. I know you had satellite, but we'll make sure this is certainly on Facebook because that's how good we are here at Westford Cat because we're all over the place. But Mary McCusker, unbelievable job. She does her own basket bingo at her house, and I know Bob, her husband, really appreciates it, but the entire house is filled with baskets right now, I think. And those are all brought to Nancy's house when the entire team gets together, and that's when I know Westford Cat, I know the Lowell Sun, and some of the other media outlets in the region are going to come and do a little snapshot on Santa's elves, or the Sun's elves, I should say, behind the scenes.
It's just, you know, a remarkable to get that much buy-in. And I think you know this over the years. You know Nancy's a force of nature. You know, you give her a job, and she is just so focused on it, and she gets good people around her that of that mindset, and it's just become this. It's taken on a life of its own, pretty much, which is remarkable to see. And it's such a great night. When I think last year I couldn't see from one end of the table in the middle of the room to the other because there were just so many baskets down there. So. There's something pretty much for everyone.
It really has, and when you think about, you know, I have to keep going back to 6 years ago. Right. So 6 years ago, I remember being at the Outlook, and Al Fletcher Sr. and Al Fletcher Jr. came up to me and they said, "Jim, what a wonderful event, unbelievable. We probably made the most at the bar and food that we've made in a long time." But we have to be straight with you. Right. I don't think we could have it here. It's too small of a venue to have it here. So, and of course they support us, and they already have with a basket from Neshoba Valley Ski Area as well to be raffled off for the Sun Santa event. But you know, each and every year it grows. It gets a little bit bigger, and you always look back to the way things were when we had like 2 or 3 baskets, and now we have over 100.
Right. So. And you thought you were doing real good the first year.
I thought I was. Yeah.
You were. It was a great event, but just there's always room for a little bit of improvement every year, and it's a fun thing to watch. The same thing with the hospital and with a lot of our other corporate sponsors. They find new and different ways to doing things. I know, for example, for Enterprise Bank, for one, they've gotten, you know, they started out with, they would put the canisters. So if you go into the Enterprise Bank in Westford, the Sun Santa canisters, you just make a little donation, whatever changes in your pocket. But now they've gotten to doing every couple of weeks there's an event in one of their offices, or they'll be doing them in the different branches. For example, they had a hot potato fundraiser a couple of weeks ago, where everyone paid a few bucks, and it was like they had like hot potatoes for lunch. They had a big oven that they were just cooking all the potatoes.
Was there anything on the hot potatoes, like chives or bacon?
I think
okay. Was it just
I don't know if you had to pay extra.
Hot potato? Not that I have anything against that. But.
No, but whatever was, and that was their lunch, was the potatoes, and they had a few raffles. But every couple of weeks, they're doing something, and here and there, they just sort of pile up a nice little stack of money for Sun Santa.
Yeah, that's great.
So, anyway, I'd just like to talk a little bit about what Sun Santa does and how it works. And
because I think that's a question. I think that you know, every year we like to talk a little bit about not only the importance of the event, the history of the event, but where does the money actually go?
Well, what we do is we have partners in Salvation Army and Community Teamwork, which is sort of the leading nonprofit that helps low-income families in the area, mostly housing, but they partner with us on Sun Santa. And So if people are in need, they can apply to Salvation Army or Sun Santa, where they're vetted, make sure they meet the eligibility requirements, and we then come up with a number of vouchers for them. And there's two types of vouchers. One is a meal voucher. So if you're a family in need and you're able to prove your need, you'll get a voucher that you can go to Market Basket, or I believe there's one or two other partners, and that voucher is good for them. It's basically a gift certificate that you can go and get food for your Thanksgiving, for your Christmas table, excuse me. If you have children, there's also a voucher for a toy, and I believe the amount's $25. So so for every child there'll be a voucher, and you can go to, again, participating stores and redeem that voucher, only taken at certain stores. And that way, every family has a meal, every child has a toy. And it has worked so well. Again, I mentioned $280,000 last year. I did the math. That's a little bit more than 3,000 families we were able to help. And as you said earlier, poverty, hard times, it doesn't know geographic boundaries. It's anyone. It could be someone, it could be your neighbor down the street, and you don't know what hard times they've had. I have the privilege of seeing a lot of the application letters. And you can sense a little bit of despair, because people want to be happy around the holidays. They don't want to disappoint their child. And it's one of the more soul-crushing things you can imagine is, my kid's going to wake up Christmas morning and there's no Santa. And again, a lot of the children, they're still in Santa range that we help. And so even if there's one toy that they understand there's a Santa and Santa came for them, it relieves such a burden. And we see a lot of situations that are not of people's making. You don't know when a catastrophic illness is going to happen. You don't know when you're going to have the loss of a loved one. And all of a sudden you are a single parent. A lot of the cases we see are a single parent will have a child that all of a sudden has a serious illness, and they have to stay home, or they need special treatment. Parent has to stay home with them, can't work. So now you're not only dealing with this debilitating illness, you're dealing with a loss of income. And things can cascade really quickly. I've read statistics where most people are one paycheck or two paychecks away from being in deep trouble. And even if we can't make their financial crises go away, we can make sure that for one day everything is okay with them. And it's been interesting to see how many people have come back years later and said, I was a Sun Santa recipient. I'm paying this forward now. You helped me. I'm okay now. I'm going to help somebody else. We do see a lot of that.
That's great to see.
And that's, it's great to see people come out of a hole. The economy has been improving slowly. It still hasn't helped a lot of people out there. So even though the state unemployment rate is low, there's still people who just can't get hooked up with the right job, or they're underemployed and they're struggling. And it's great to see those people have one happy day.
Now this is, this event has become not only a signature event for myself and for the committee that I'm on, but a signature event for the town of Westford and Greater Lowell. Certainly one for the Lowell Sun and the Sun Santa Santa program, but it's it's something that people from all across the board, whatever your political affiliation is. And I know that this day and age, I know maybe we can just pause defriending people on Facebook and taking our political conversations outside. But this is an event that I think us as a community, as citizens, we can come together to help people in need. Yeah,
and I also shout out to the other organizations that are creating events, because people are finding their own way into Sun Santa. They're doing things. Your party is great. Former Senator Pangiatakis, his party is Friday night in Lowell.
That's right.
We have the Patriot Dart League has been a longtime partner, dart players. And they have an event, and the date escapes me, you'll see it in the Lowell Sun. But they have an event where at the Knickerbocker Club in Lowell, if you like to play darts, come. They have little tournaments, they have raffles and buffet and the like. And half of your entry fee comes to Sun Santa, which is really great. We have families that have been running parties for 10, 12, 15 years that basically the proceeds of the party come to us. I learned of one that I'd never heard of before. Apparently Boston Road Club. It's a cycling group.
Mm-hmm.
They have a race, as we're taping, this coming Sunday in Lowell, and all the proceeds are going to Sun Santa. And they've done this for a few years. It's the first I'd ever heard of this event.
Right.
But people are just finding their way into doing things.
But those quiet, sort of understated fundraisers
Right.
that are out there are
Right.
so incredibly essential to the success of this event and helping people during the
Right.
holidays.
Right, and we have a lot of great corporate partners besides. One of the things we do is if any business out there donates $500 or more, send us a picture. We'll run that. So you'll see we have big partners like Raytheon. You have smaller groups. Any classroom that donates money, we'll take your picture, run that in the paper. We credit every person who donates.
Now, Tom, you talked a little bit about that earlier in the show about teachers that are getting involved and
Right.
classrooms that are getting involved. A little bit about that.
We've had, again, some serious partners over the years. I believe it's the Doing School in Tewksbury. They've had some teachers over there for years have been involved. ABC Nursery is another one that is very much involved in that year-to-year thing. Lowell High School last year started a penny war, and I think they raised about $1,100, which is not small change.
That's great.
And they're coming back again this year, and they're doing that. Again, it's all just to instill this idea of there's somebody less fortunate out there. And, Lowell is a tough place in some ways. And so if you have young people who are, here from across the globe who are understanding that there might be poverty or worse poverty, they're stepping up.
Well, there's been some unique kind of events as well, right? Sun Santa events, a way of raising money. Like, how did the penny thing start? Is that something like one teacher started and now other?
Right. I mean,
Okay.
I think penny wars have started as a thing where it's a real low-cost way for somebody to get involved. It's you're changing your pocket. You throw a few pennies in here. I know there are some cases where I think the Lowell one, if I'm not mistaken, was the different classes got involved. So, you had a war between the junior class and the senior class as to who could raise the most money. So it becomes a little bit of pride as well. So a lot of the classrooms, some of the schools that do this, that's what they want to do. They want to have a little bit of competitive nature to it so people can invest in it and, we raise more money. So there's some of that. Unique events. I think dart throwers. I mean, that just sort of always surprises me that you get.
I was never a very good dart thrower.
You don't want to.
I would just give the money up front, ahead of time, and then just see what I could do. Right.
They pay you not to play.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. But again, it's the way people kind of get into that.
Exactly.
Event. This is something they're taking. That's a fun event that they're involved in, and they're very happy to give up their proceeds one day.
It is a great event. I know that Patty Stalker from Westford Cat is going to be covering as well. I think Patty's actually coming, and we appreciate everything you've done, Patty, to cover this event. Is going to be coming as well to the Basket Bingo, which is going to be at Nancy Cook's house. Now, it is now the 18th. Is it the 18th today?
Right.
Of November. Just for all the viewers at home, I don't know if it's going to be taped. Well, it's taped today, but I don't know if it shows today, but it might be showed tomorrow. Nonetheless, we are coming so close to the date. I'm getting a little nervous. It's December 1st. Right. It's right after
less than 2 weeks.
It's less than 2 weeks. It's right after Thanksgiving. And it goes, certainly we're kicking off, Tom, we're kicking off the holiday season.
Like I say, it's a great event. You should please come out and meet some of the celebrities I have lined up, some of the lesser celebrities like Jim and myself.
Thank you very much.
Jim and myself. But, absolutely, it's a fun night. There's music, raffles. You can certainly dip in, dip out. You can hang around a little while. It's a really interesting cross-section of your district and people from across the state. I've always marveled seeing some of the people that are there. I've seen, for example, your good friend, now former rep, now Mayor of Fitchburg, Steve DiNatale.
Steve DiNatale,
has been there at least 1 year. I believe D.A. Marion Ryan was there at least 1 year. And so it's a great chance to just be up close and personal with some of the people.
The State Treasurer, Deb Goldberg.
That's right. She was there last year as well. And
now, again, the governor is slated to come. Governor Baker and Lieutenant Governor Polito. It's on their schedule. We'll see how. Obviously, it's a very fluid schedule. We'll see how that goes. But it's become that signature event again. For Greater Lowell, not just for Westford, not just for Littleton and Chelmsford, but it's become an event that people want to be at. So we encourage, folks watching this at home or on Facebook and social media. It's 6 p.m. at the Franco-American Club on December 1st. We're going to be kicking off, we're kicking off some of the bigger events for the Sun Santa and Toys for Tots throughout Greater Lowell. And WCAP will be there. There'll be a number of different, actually over 100 gift baskets by Mary McCusker and our committee. There's going to be just wonderful food. There's going to be a DJ. There's going to be Santa Claus and a lot of other special guests as well.
Right. I want to say, if you can't make it, you can certainly make a donation on lowellsun.com/sunsanta. It's a secure site. Any donation is helpful. As I said, it's great to have events like yours or Lowell General, but that other 50% of what we raise, that's the small change. It can be $50, $75, $100. It can be $5. We have a lot of donations in the $5, $10 range. And I believe if you take out your event and Lowell General, I think half of our donations are $25 or less. So
right.
That money, it doesn't sound like a lot, but it starts to stack up really quickly. We actually got off to an early start this year. I was actually surprised. We're a little bit ahead of last year. So I don't know what we're going to do this year. We want to beat 280, 300,000 would be wonderful.
What is the biggest, what's the largest number you've ever had?
280 was
the
last year,
largest.
and that we actually closed a little short of 280 last year, and then right after the new year, we got a donation that put us over, so a significant donation.
Well, Tom, we are coming close to the end of the show.
Right.
And we're coming close to December 1st. I'm going to encourage everyone who's watching again, December 1st, Sun Santa Franco-American Club, Sun Santa Toys for Tots at the Franco-American Club, 6 p.m. And if you can bring $25 for the Sun Santa Fund or an unwrapped gift for the Toys for Tots, that would be wonderful. It's going to be an amazing event. We're very excited about it. If you have a business in town that you would like to host a box for an unwrapped gift for the Toys for Tots, we do have boxes that we could put in your business. They'll show my email up on the screen. You can email me with any kind of request, et cetera, information that you might want to know about putting a box up. But again, Tom, thank you.
Thanks, Jim, as always. We'll see you on the 1st.
We'll see you on the 1st. Thank you so much, and I appreciate it. I'll see you next time.